Alright, so this just in. You gonna dig this shit right here. I'm telling you. So your boy, Donald Trump, he has officially pardoned the one and only, you know what I'm saying, the GD's #1, Larry Hoover, at the age of 74. Ain't that ironic? The king of 7'4". Well, he don't consider himself the king no more, but you know what I'm saying, the king of the GDs, you know what I'm saying, the one who put it all down, who started it in Chi-Town, Larry Hoover, you know, he's free at the age of 74. Well, he's not free yet. He's been pardoned at the age of 74. You know, but it's going to be about a few weeks or something, or a few days before they let your boy go. So, you know, your boy Larry Hoover, he pardoned, you know, he's from Chicago. He done did a lot of things with them gangs in Chicago back in the days. You know, he been locked up since 1973. This is ironic too. They convicted him to do 6 life sentences. And you know what the 6 points start meaning to them, you know, to them GDs. I got plenty of GDs in my family, plenty of kinfolks, uncles, cousins, a whole bunch of loved ones, you know, that I love to the death. You know, they claim 7-4 themselves. So, you know, and 4th of July coming up, like in a little bit over a month. So they're going to be turning up on that day as well. You know what I'm saying? July 4th, 7-4. You know, they say 7-4 to the world blow. You feel me? So, yeah, you know your boy, Larry Hoover, he moved to Chicago and let me see, he was born in Jackson, Mississippi in 1950. Then he moved to Chicago at the age of 4. You know, and he, 1969, something like it, he started, him and David Barksdale combined the BDs, the Black Disciples, and the Supreme Gangsters, and they started the Gangster Disciple Nation, you know. And 1980, you know what I'm saying, the Black Disciples and the Gangster Disciples in Chicago, they became divided. You know, they was no longer collided. They was no longer a part of each other. You feel me? You know, but you know, in some towns, like in Tennessee, we're back, you know what I'm saying, when I was in the streets, the GDs and the BDs, they was still rocking with one another. It was still all one, all is one type thing is what they was saying, you know. And David Barksdale, you know, the dude that was over the Black Disciples, he died from kidney failure. And what year did he die? 1974. That's ironic. You know, there's some other shit that's ironic. I gotta tell you more, you know. He died in 1974. You know, some more ironic shit about the GD Nation. You know, them boys ain't playing. But yeah, your boy, so it was 89 when the Black Disciples started having problems with Larry Hoover and the Folk Nation or whatever, and they started dividing. Then that thing came along with, you know, carried on with Chief Keef and them people, well, his folks, you know what I'm saying, the BDs going against the GDs, 7-4 in Chicago. You know, it's been an all-out war, you know, in the Chi-Town. But, you know, you got Dirk, he a BD, he still rock with the GDs and out of town, outside of Chicago, even though he might say, you know, that with a K. I ain't gonna disrespect nobody anyway. You know what I'm saying? I don't play like it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, GD my family. You know what I'm saying? They always got my back. But I ain't GD myself. You know what I'm saying? But you know, my loved ones, they all GD. You feel me? And but yeah, you know, he you know, you dirt rock with YTB Fat, and he GD to the death of him. You know what I'm saying? He ain't like the rest of them. But you know, that other GD versus BD controversy, that's Chicago stuff, you know. And I guess when it comes to Dirk, he lead it GD versus BD stuff in Chicago only. You know what I'm saying? He ain't even on that. But you know, this stuff that's going on in Chicago, there's some stuff that's just personal, and it got very controversial. And you know, they weren't handling, you know what I'm saying, they was handling all that. They weren't having it. So yeah, and then in 1997, while your boy Larry Hoover was already in the penitentiary, he caught another conviction for criminal enterprise, being the head of a criminal enterprise. Because they say he was still in there doing conspiracies, extortions, money laundering, drug-related offenses, and continuing to engage in that whole criminal enterprise. You know what I'm saying? And they sentenced him to 3 additional life terms in a federal penitentiary. You know what I'm saying? That's trying to say he was over 30,000 soldiers, and that was back in 1997. And you know, imagine how much it expanded now. You know what I'm saying? They were just with the feds, how the feds was counting it down. You know how many people is going around claiming GD? You know what I'm saying? In these streets, it got to be like 1 million. You know what I'm saying? At least about 750,000. You know what I'm saying, man? Saying they ain't no civilians. You know, saying they real gangster nation is in them. You know, but you know, some people be flashing. They might flash until they really get put on. They might meet a real one and they really put them on. You know what I'm saying? Put them down with some knowledge. Or they might be claiming it and not really be from there. But you know, they go to the penitentiary or something and they really put them down on there for real. They like really put it down in their mental. You know what I'm saying? It's just the way they got to end up living. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, your boy Larry Hoover has been officially pardoned from, you know what I'm saying, his life sentences. They dropped 200 years on that man, a life sentence plus 200 years. In total, it's supposed to be 6 life sentences, but it's all kind of ins and outs on how they did that. And he tried to appeal in 2021, and he hired Bill Cosby's former attorney, Jennifer Bongian, but he tried to appeal under the First Step Act, but it was denied by Judge Harry Lennon Weber, something like that. You know what I'm saying? That was in 2021. He got an appeal denied. But your boy Trump, he said he trying to keep them black folks on the side. You know what I'm saying? And I guess he feel like Larry Hoover deserves to get out, you know? So I guess Larry Hoover's finna come home and we gonna see what it's all about. But like I said, he denounced any affiliation with the GDs. You know, it was a while ago. I can't remember what year it was. He tried to do the whole thing where he was like, you know, GD is no longer stands for gangster disciple. It's for growth and development, you know. He tried to make it like GD is on some whole better shit. But to the feds and the law enforcement's eyes, all that shit is irrelevant. You feel me? It's like, you know, they feel like he was really in there running shit, and they felt like he deserved like the utmost punishment. You know what I'm saying? Like the hardest punishment. Surprised they try to fry him in an electric chair. How many bodies they try to say he was on top of when he was out there, you know what I'm saying, when he was running Chicago streets, because, you know, he had a whole bunch of people allegedly doing dirt for him, and they were supposed to all be underneath him, you know, and that's really what it was. You know what I'm saying? Now the GDs, that's how they see him. Even though he denounced being from GD, you know, they still feel like, the GDs still feel like Larry Hoover is their king, you know what I'm saying? It's more than just a dream. You got the 360, you know, and they flipped over to 720 and all that, you know what I'm saying? Just for the ones that know a little bit about that knowledge, you know what I'm saying? That ain't all cap, it's all facts. But you know, your boy Larry Hoover's coming back, but he ain't finna be on that. He finna sit back, you know? And I don't know if you gonna hear anything about him ratting. I doubt it, because, you know, it's pretty much flattened because your boy Trump partner, you know, so it ain't gonna really be none of that. You know, like with Big Meech, he got out, and then like in a few weeks later, it was all controversial. That was damn near talking about your boy snitching on like worldwide TV commercials. You know what I'm saying? All due to 50 Cent. You know, he was on his neck, kept his foot on his neck about that, you know, what they said about Big Meech snitching on somebody, Cuffy, from St. Louis or something like that. But that, you know, I don't know if anybody bluffing, but according to Big Meech, in his paperwork, it ain't nothing. But it's all kind of stipulations in between them lines. You got to read them between the lines, and you got to know how it is when you doing them crimes. You got to be ready to do that time, and or get left behind. You feel me? Cause the streets ain't gonna have no love for you no more. You know what I'm saying? Once you snitch on them streets, you gotta go. You know, once they find out, you might as well ride out, cause your time on the streets is out. You know what I'm saying? Time out. But yeah, you know, it ain't really like it no more. You know, a lot of these dudes, they rat. You know what I'm saying? They don't go to no witness protection or nothing. They just straight up. They still right back. They on the streets right with you like nothing never happened. And people still show them love and giving them pats on the back. You know what I'm saying? When they came home, they was clapping for them, you know. And, you know, people find out they snitch. You know what I'm saying? They like, fuck it ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? Let's get some money together and get rich. But how you gonna, you know, do some dirt with somebody that done told on somebody? You know what I'm saying? He done already wrote on somebody. So, you know, you might be next getting caught with that product. You know what I'm saying? Get the hell up out of here. Like, you can't have no fear. If you gonna do that work right there, do that dirt right there, you better be ready to do some time in jail, or better yet, in the state penitentiary or the feds, you feel me? Like, what I'm saying? Real street cats ain't playing like it at all, you know what I'm saying? You may end up falling, you know what I'm saying, before you go tell on all them, that's how a real soldier gonna stand 10 toes down to the ground, you know what I'm saying, with your head up high. You know what I'm saying? Before I snitch, I'd rather die type of time. You know what I'm saying? But that's all I got for right now. I appreciate y'all for tapping back in. The Trap Tube TV is me again, Tony, 3 times. I give you y'all next video. Peace.